Hello, my lovely subscribers, my juicy cybernauts, my delicious Sistinarians. You are welcome to my channel. Once more with you is Barrister Egbe Eyong Akumbe. Egbe Eyong Akumbe, Cameroon. Egbe for Igbos. I'm not a gun. I'm just an eagle. That's the meaning of my lovely name. Yes, it's such pride to bear your African name and know the meaning of it because that is what this channel is trying to promote. We are basically motherland activists. We are advocating for the nation to treasure its natural resources. And if you want to talk about natural resources, hello, you start with your name. You start by Africanizing your name. It's okay to have your nice Christian names. I love those who have Christian names because I know the meanings too. But it's not fair to have a name like Dustbin, Cheer, Free, Hello. In Africa, we look at it as some sort of stagnancy. That was just an aside to make you guys relax. So if you are new on my channel, I welcome you to this very beautiful channel. In this channel, we talk about natural resources, energy, and sustainable development law. In today's episode, I want to elaborate on the risks which private investors or private operators within the exploitation industry face. That means that I'm actually looking at the different types of risks which private exploiters are exposed to during their extractive activities or processes. Now, before the 1980 season or the 1980s, such risks did not exist. However, after the 1980s, there were this plethora of risks which came up, probably because too many activities had already been carried out. Remember, the oil boom was sometime in the 1970s. So here we are in 1980 and we start facing risks as exploiters. So these are the risks we are going to talk about. So these risks are mainly or majorly three. We have natural or geological risks, we have political risks, and we have financial risks as well. For the purpose of time on YouTube and in order to keep your interests coming, we are going to face just one for today. In our next episode or subsequent, we are going to handle the financial risk and the political risk. But for today, I'm going to talk about just the geological or natural risk. Now we go. Just as the name is, geological talks about the earth. Geological talks about the nature. It talks about the earth's surface, the earth's crust, and everything that is underneath the earth's crust. Now, extractive industries focus on dragging or pulling out things, scooping things from underneath the earth's crust. In our study of today, before we talk about the natural risks that exploiters face, it's important that we first let you know that finding exploitable quantities of natural resources is not an issue to exploiters. They will always find the exploitable quantity. But the problem they actually face is of this quantity that they find here and there. When they want to make a choice as to which particular one they should go in for, what do they consider? That's our topic of interest today. And then we're also going to see the issues which they face. Now, the big issue is finding commercializable quantities. Yes, the natural resource is present. But then, if as an exploiter, I choose to exploit that particular mineral deposit or gisement, as it is called in French, it means a mineral deposit, am I going to be able to make good profits after commercializing what I have exploited? That's the bone of contention that every exploiter, who is of course a businessman, has in his mind. Now, you have to know that an average exploitation company doesn't have an answer to this. This is because they are powerless. That is, they have such huge uncertainty as to what they are going to meet underneath the earth's surface. It is not until they are done with exploitation that they are faced with the reality of what was found in that particular mineral deposit. Now, the question will be, what of feasibility studies? Do they not carry out feasibility studies? Yes, they carry out feasibility studies. We know that these studies are made to inform them about the quantity of a specific mineral resource which is in that spot where they want to exploit. Of course, that's the step called exploration, research. During the time which they use the modern technology, they use it to perhaps a drone that spots down there and says, okay, I can see there's this particular element here, mineral resource here, or element here and there. It's just going to reduce the kind of risk they will suffer, that is getting to the place and not finding the required quantity. Of course, the modern technology reduces the risk of undiscovered resources these days. However, it doesn't cancel the fact that so many big surprises are still reserved to all these exploiters. Now, we have agreed that feasibility studies are carried out. What we should also know is that in the course of feasibility studies, these feasibility studies help them to evaluate a given reserve. Reserve is like saying a given mineral deposit. Yes. So they have evaluated it, but what you should know is that the evaluation of a given reserve is only or barely 10% valid. That means no matter what is done, especially in this our time, it is only 10% of that evaluation that is valid. This means up to 90%, which is of course the greater, if not all of it, is still left to in the hands of surprise. So there's nothing that an exploiter can do. He just has to face the uncertainty, and coupled with the activities that he has to do, you will get to understand why there are contracts like in the petroleum contract where the exploiters usually choose to split the proceeds or the profits they have made only at the end of their exploitation, where they will tell the government, this is what we realized, this is what we spent. So we do the profit oil minus the cost oil, and we find ourselves with what we're going home with. That is the reason why in oil and gas in particular, this production sharing contract is usually, for example, fair, because here the exploiter knows that, okay, let me do what I need to do to get what I need to get. At the end of the day, the amount of money I pumped into this exercise, into this extraction, this upstream activity, I will recover it when I'll be balancing up, showing the host country that look at what I incurred in the course of extracting my hydrocarbon or petroleum. So this is a little bit of the kind of stress that exploiters are exposed to. So this also helps exploiters and the consultants to know what to include in their contracts. You should always know that that part of uncertainty, this 10% validity, that is the maximum which a given reserve would definitely be exposed to. You should know that it means that up to 90% of what your client or the exploiter is going to find there is unknown. That's just it. So now let's get to the issues which are faced by these different exploiters. The very first one I want to address is the fact that there are so many natural resources which are yet to be discovered, yet they are in very small amounts. And this actually makes operations very complex. Why is this so? Because in the course of exploiting a given mineral deposit, an average exploiter requests for a particular license or permit. Now, he could actually get a permit for exploitation of gold, In the course of exploiting his gold, he finds bauxite or he finds diamond. This is not the same thing. He is faced with different minerals or different mineral ores which he didn't think he was going to meet them. That is why we say specific minerals. That's why we say, sorry, that the undiscovered deposits are usually in very little quantities. Now, in the course of feasibility studies, most times, since the quantity is quite minimal, it is not seen, it is not detected. And so it poses an issue, or it makes the exploitation complex, because before touching that one which wasn't bargained for, the exploiter has to get back to the host country, let them know what they have found in the ground because of that exploitation, and alert them that, oh, see what we found. We need a permit to exploit this, or we found this. They owe the host country that transparency. So you realize that it poses some delay for them, because here we are finding what we didn't bargain for, yet we are not permitted to touch it. So the operation becomes complex, because at each point in time where this small quantity of undiscovered resources are found, that they were undiscovered during feasibility study, do not forget, they will still need to be reported. So instead of the operation just going smoothly, you will always have to wait for the administration to get back to them based on what was discovered now. So that's for one point. The second point I want to mention is actually that the exploiter has no idea of the specific mineral resource he can find. This means that it is only upon digging, it is only upon exploiting that he encounters the natural resources. Yes, it wasn't detected, but then why must he go through all the pain of exploiting before finding the resource which he didn't even bargain for? It's an issue, right? Because he has to still dig. He will dig, and he will find what he didn't bargain for, because he has no idea the exact type of resource which he will find there. Now, this means that modern technology is somehow tilting itself towards using machinery that can detect specific types of resources and extract just those ones. In some episode, I have mentioned some methods of mining, where I remember talking about potash and salt extraction, solution mining, that's it, in which they had to pump water into the ground, form actually water or brine, and then form a solution of it using machinery and pump it back to the surface where the extraction of the potash and salt are done. I think that was solution mining. It was basically those types of extractive methods that have to do with not disturbing the ecosystem, I remember. So you see, those are the kind of modern techniques that are adopted these days, where you can extract what you need, just what you need, without disturbing the ecosystem. That's what we are facing in this point. Now, I want to talk about the third point. The amount of mineral to be recovered from one site. Now, the amount of mineral to be recovered from zone A most times differs from the amount of mineral to be recovered from zone B. Now, this particular mineral deposits are divided into some sort of plots, well-defined plots, boundaries well stated in their contracts. Now, I have this particular mineral deposits I want to extract from here. I'm given a license for this portion. I'm given a license, or another person is given a license on portion B. Now, we're both given the same licenses, but the government or the host country is not aware of the kind of, or the amount of mineral resource that will be found in zone A or plot A. Neither is the host country aware in granting its license that zone B or plot B contains other quantity of natural resource. So that is why this point is made, that the amount of mineral to be recovered from one deposit to the other varies from one mineral deposit to the other. It means there is no awareness as to what is found underneath the ground. That's point 2. And that's still an issue. This means the government cannot say, because you extract this quantity, this is what you do, this is what you do. The government leaves you to chance. Now, with all this, you will see that there is so much stress for all of the exploiters because they are getting into a thing that they do not know where it will lead them to. Meanwhile, others are fighting with the quantity they are not sure of. Others are struggling with the minerals they don't expect to see and the undiscovered ones which will delay them before continuing what they want to do. They have to first report the undiscovered ones or the undetected ones which they found. And thirdly, we mentioned that there are some resources that differ in quantity. This zone having different from this zone, and the exploiter not knowing that he will find this particular diamond when he was looking for gold. However, the point which is also very, very, very strong, sensitive, and almost the story why money goes into these activities is the fact that accessibility is not easy. Let me talk about it. The resources are found in inaccessible areas. Remember, extractive industries spend a lot of money just in drilling boreholes. They go meters, kilometers, and deep, deep, deep down the earth's crust. It is in order for them to avoid being covered down because these are long distances that you find them exploiting in some circular form so that there is no ground left above to cover people. They keep going in a certain pattern. Be that as it may, you will understand that when you look at the picture of what a mineral deposit looks like, what is called in French gisement, you will understand that a lot of money is pumped into this activity because accessibility to these mineral resources is not easy. It makes the processes very expensive. It makes exploitation costly. And with this, excuse me, my alarm. Oh, it's actually supposed to be my reading time. Okay, sorry about that. So with this, we understand that every exploiter, every mineral resource operator has a lot to invest in this job. It is both cost intensive and also it stands as an issue. Remember, we are talking about the geological or natural risks. So in this case, we say the risk which that operator will face will be that of inaccessibility to these natural resources. So I decided to elaborate a little more to make you understand what exactly each point was about. So hoping that this was well understood, I will be coming in the next episode to talk about the financial risk and the subsequent one, political risk. See you in my next episode and have a wonderful evening. Bye.